I'm getting it. This is Chair Becker, and I'm calling the meeting to order. This is the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission meeting, and the items listed on the agenda today may be taken out of order presented. Two or more agenda items for the consideration may be combined, and any one item on the agenda may be removed or related discussion may be delayed at any time. Backup material for this agenda may be obtained from Lou Ann D. Holmes, City Clerk at the Office of City Clerk, 495 South Main Street, second floor, or on the city's web page at www.lasvegasnevada.gov. For item agenda number 1, I would like to go ahead and call, I've already called it to order, and I'd like to do the roll call, please.
Chair Becker.
Here.
Vice Chair Niger. Here. Commissioner Sherman.
Via teleconference present.
Commissioner McCurdy.
Here.
Commissioner Armenian. Excuse Commissioner Gabre. Commissioner Asselin. Excuse Commissioner Howard. Excuse Commissioner Keller.
Present.
Commissioner Johnson. Excuse Commissioner Martin. Excuse Commissioner Zamora. Excuse Commissioner Burgos.
Here.
Commissioner Cornwell. Excuse Commissioner Robinson.
Present.
Thank you, Chair. You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. And with that, are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
Yes, we are, Chair.
Thank you. For item agenda number 3, for public comment, comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. And the amount of discussion as well as the amount of time given to any single speaker allowed may be limited. And for this portion, see no one in the audience coming up for public comment. For this portion of the agenda, I would like to introduce our newest commissioner, Bob Robinson. And I've invited him to go ahead and tell us a little bit about himself and some of his experience with Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, my name is Bob Robinson, and first of all, thank you to Ms. Klein and the various officials that are here today. My name is Bob Robinson, and as a 18-year resident of Las Vegas, this was a very exciting opportunity, and certainly I want to give thanks to City Councilman Knutson and the entire Las Vegas City Council for affording me this opportunity. My wife and I, Valerie, as I said, live here in Las Vegas for 18 years now, and we are both avid e-bicyclists, so enjoying the wonderful trails that Las Vegas has to offer. I also allegedly play golf, and so the opportunity to play on the city courses and just enjoy, the wonderful resources that we have here in Las Vegas as a consumer, and now to actually be a part of this body and to help in any way that I can better those resources. This is a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to serving. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hey, thank you, Commissioner Robinson. One question. You're with Ward 1?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And then just as a reminder, too, anytime that we speak or have comments going forward today, try to remember to state your name and the ward that you represent. Now I'd like to move on to item agenda number 4, which is for possible action to approve the final meeting minutes by reference of the regular meeting of October 3rd, 2023. Is it anybody would like to make that motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
William McCurdy, Ward 5. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes as prior read before coming to this board meeting by any board member. If there's any need for corrections, like that to be also amended to this motion.
Great. Are there any amendments to be made? No? Seeing none, I'd like to go ahead and call for a vote to approve the meeting minutes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? And the motion carries.
Sorry, Chair, I just want to confirm. Commissioner Sherman, was that an aye?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we move to item agenda number 6, report by Jasmine Freeman, Cultural Affairs Manager.
Chair, it's going to be actually item number 5.
I did that again. Thank you, City Clerk. Report by the Department of Public Safety regarding issues at city facilities and parks, all wards.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Lieutenant John Guillen, Department of Public Safety, Deputy City Marshals, up here to provide the October 2023 report. Just advise it didn't reach Parks at this time, but she'll provide it after this meeting. We'll just go off my copy. If you have any questions, feel free. Before I start with the statistics, for the last meeting, Vice Chair Niger inquired about the violations at Majestic Park. There were 3 arrests and/or citations at Majestic Park. Those actually were 2 separate incidences. 2 people were arrested on the first event, and that was for lodging and narcotics-related offenses. The second event, 1 person was arrested for alcohol prohibited based off a complaint of public disturbance. Okay, now I'll continue with my report. We'll start at the top with Ward 1. We had 17 arrests and/or citations, and we had 69 Priority 1 calls for service during this time period. Our top 3 parks were Rotary Park, Betty Wilson, and Aloha Shores Park. Those violations were narcotics and park violation-related offenses. I'll move on to Ward 2. We had 1 arrest and/or citation and 39 calls for service at that park. 1 arrest and/or citation for outstanding warrant. Next, I'll move to Ward 3. We had 46 arrests and/or citations for a total of 162 calls for service in that ward. Our top 3 parks were Justice Leavitt Park, Gary Reese Freedom Park, and East Las Vegas Family Park. Those violations range from warrants, park violations, and lodging without consent violations. I'll move on to Ward 4. We had 5 arrests and/or citations for a total of 74 calls for service. And our top 3 parks were Bunker, Majestic Park, and La Madre Trails, and those violations were park violations and narcotics. Move on to Ward 5, and we had 37 arrests and/or citations for a total of 138 calls for service. And our top 3 parks were Ethel Pearson Park, Lorenzi Park, and Heritage Park, and those were park violations, lodging without consent, as well as warrants. Final ward was Ward 6. Three arrests and/or citations for a total of 44 calls for service for that ward. And our top 3 parks were Floyd Lamb, Teton Trails, and Estelle Neal Park for park violations and outstanding warrant. Before I move on to the next page, I wanted to highlight some arrests that our criminal investigation detectives did during the month of October. Just recently at Freedom Park, they arrested a subject for battery with intent to commit robbery, as well as battery with victim over 60 years of age. That subject was arrested. Also in this month at Bunker Park, they arrested a subject and charged him with robbery with a deadly weapon. And they also arrested the subject that was stealing bicycles at Veterans Memorial Leisure Center. So they had a pretty active month, and I just wanted to highlight their efforts. Move on to our next page. This is where we have our trailer cameras set up right now. We have one deployed at Freedom Park in response to the auto burglaries, and we had one for 2 weeks at Lubertha Johnson due to the complaints from for the car clubs that were gathering on the weekends, so we deployed a trailer camera there to help deter that activity. And then our final page is our COP events that we attended to. We had a busy month with, we participated in a lot of national night outs as well as trunk or treats. So on October 3rd, we were at Kianga-Soka Park for a national night out. October 20th, Durango Hills Community Center for a trunk or treat. October 25th, Cimarron Rose Community Center, trunk or treat. October 26th, Stupak Community Center, trunk or treat. October 26th, East Las Vegas Community Center, trunk or treat, as well as Mirror Valley Community Center. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.
Great. Are there any questions? Yes, Commissioner McCurdy.
Yes, Commissioner McCurdy, Ward 5. Are you aware of the new gang that's operating in the county or the city limits, or the Hispanic black gang? Those 2 groups came together and they're doing shootings and things. Have you guys been made aware of that?
Lieutenant John Guillen, Department of Public Safety. Commissioner McCurdy, no, I have not been made specifically aware of that, but I can inquire with our sources to see if that's something that's going to affect our properties.
Right, okay.
Vice Chair Niger.
Hi, Stephen Niger, Ward 4. Thanks for that earlier. Any information yet on whether the trailers have had an impact on the auto burglaries and the car clubs?
Lieutenant John Guillen, Department of Public Safety. If I just use the example of the Bertha Johnson, a car club did gather despite the trailer camera ring there, but marshals were aware of it and they did go to the area and speak with the organizer about the event. So in that situation, no, but I can gather further statistics on auto burglaries in some of our other properties.
Can I, Ward 5, Commissioner McCurdy, can I ask you a question? When commissioners make reports, do you tell the individuals who made those reports?
Lieutenant John Guillen, Department of Public Safety, no, sir, we do not advise who made the complaints. When I brief the marshals, it's a very general concern, and I just advise them where to be and what kind of activity to look for. But no names are produced.
Because I personally got a call and said that I got before a Parks and Recreation Committee and made the statement about Bertha Johnson Park.
Lieutenant John Guillen, Department of Public Safety. Sir, that might have came from another source, but when I talk to the marshals, that information isn't conveyed to them. But
Chair Becker. We have to keep in mind that everything that we discuss during this meeting is recorded and available for public consumption. So anything that you've said during this meeting is available for public consumption.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions today? Lieutenant, thank you for bringing the report today. Wonderful job as always. It's always good to see you. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 6, report by Jasmine Freeman, Cultural Affairs Manager, regarding the Activities and Special Events Division in Parks, all wards. It was nice to meet you out there.
Nice to meet you too. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Jasmine Freeman with Parks and Rec and Cultural Affairs, the Cultural Affairs Manager over the Special Events Division, and I'll be reporting on our Special Events Division as it relates to our city parks. So our Special Events Unit is a unit that is responsible for permitting, producing, or just having hands-on with over 4,000 events throughout the year that touch over 1 million people here in our community. Let's see here, I'm going to just advance the slideshow here. So our Special Events Division actually is more than just our Parks Events Unit. We encompass our council and event services, our facility and event coordinators, so the people that rent out City Hall or host events here at any of our city facilities, our Floyd Lamb Gatehouse staff, our parade production crew for the El Dorado Days Parade, which is city produced, our permits, which include film permits, citywide event permits, park special event permits, neighborhood block parties, the whole gamut of anything event related. Pop-up mobile recreation services is under our belt, as well as our production services unit. So even the AV that's running here today is part of our special events team. So just wanted to give you the bigger picture of what we work on. We, as you are aware, we have 87 parks in our inventory. We consider 20 of those reservable parks. So what that means, this is just a snapshot from our website today, and these are the parks that are listed as reservable. And that just means if you want to make a reservation for a picnic shelter or a park special event, this website is self-service. You could go on there and make your reservation for your picnic shelter. And it's kind of hard to read, but there's a little circle with a bubble and a number there next to the right of each name. And so just for example, Gary Reese Freedom Park has a number 3 next to it. It's hard to see, but that means that there's 3 shelters available for reservation at the park. And just a quick, why isn't every single park reservable, is just staffing. We couldn't get out there and clean every park up to an event's expectation standards to where we're out after every single special event that's happening in the park. And when I show you our numbers, you'll get a kind of a bigger picture as to why that is as well. This is actually from our special events handbook, and this just explains when a person needs to pull a park special event as opposed to just doing a picnic shelter reservation on their own. A park special event permit is one of the things that you're going to need when you're going to have, a wedding on any of our park properties. You're having more than 75 people. And so this list is a good indicator for someone if they're looking to figure out if their kid's birthday party is a park special event or a picnic shelter reservation. And usually that's judged by the elements of the event, the size of the event, the scope of the event. So this is just a fun picture from one of our special events at the park, the Shack Courts ribbon cutting, where we did have Shack there. There is a difference between the park special event, as you saw what we need there, and the picnic shelter reservation. It's really important for everyone who's using the parks that when they're using that reservable space or having a special event, that they get the right permits, because we need to know what is happening in the park, what kind of things are, what kind of attractions. If Shack just showed up at the park and we didn't know about it, could you imagine what kind of chaos would ensue? So we're able to provide the right security, we're able to make sure that the lights are on, we're able to make sure that we have our staff adequate, whether it's for cleanup or just overall event, whatever the case may be, we can make sure that we're prepared, and all of our special event review team members, which could include our partners with public safety or Metro and fire and business licensing, they're aware of what's going on out there as well, and they can make sure that these organizers that are using our spaces are doing it the right ways for the most safe and successful event that they can have. So here's a little bit of the numbers, a snapshot of our numbers for you. So our park special event permits over an annual basis, as you can see, as the numbers grow, those are actually our later years. So 2023 is in the light gray color, and you can see how much it's spiking above 22 and 21. And we have noticed, so 2021, I'll change slides here just so that you can see. This is just the month-by-month comparison. April and October are by far our busiest months in parks. It's obviously the best time to be outside in Las Vegas, so we see that in our parks too. In 2021, we had 234 park special event permits. That doesn't include our picnic shelter reservations. In 22, there were 387 of them. In 2023, so far, as of October 18th, that doesn't include the rest of the year. That hasn't happened yet, other than what was currently booked. That's what's in the lower right-hand corner in red. We've had 573 so far. So we're trending to have well over 600 park special events this year alone in just those 20 reservable parks. This is a snapshot of our online picnic shelter reservations. So our users can make these reservations themselves. Sometimes they'll give our office a call and we'll give them a hand. Even our parks 229 play line, the staff there can help them with those reservations as well. So in 2022 and 2023, the numbers stayed pretty consistent overall. Again, April and October just being by far the best time to be out there, which means it's the busiest time for our staff, really getting ready for those events and cleaning up after them and everything else. So this is just the same data in a different format. In 2022, our actual numbers were 831 park or picnic shelter reservations or pavilion shelter reservations. And this year so far, as of October 19th, this data was at 793. So again, on trend to be right at that 830 or more by the end of the year. Picnic shelter reservations, just to give you a little bit of insight into what that costs. It's a typical $15 to $75 an hour, just depending on the size of the shelter. That's going to depend on the size of the event that you're bringing in. And again, if you go over that 75 attendees, then you want to get the event permit as opposed to just a picnic shelter reservation. So this gives you a little bit of insight into the revenue. So our picnic shelters, I broke down here, or our team broke down by ward as well as our total. So picnic shelter totals by ward, you'll see that there is some big differences there. That has to do with the amount of space that's actually reservable in that ward and the amount of events, whether there's fee waivers and things like that going on too. So the total rentals was at $825. The attendance overall, for what they indicated would be attendees at their picnic or their picnic event, were almost 40,000, and that was a total revenue of 128,000 and some change there. And then moving into our special events. The special event fees are different than the picnic shelter reservation fees. There's a little more involved in that, especially on the staffing side. So the rates are based on the capacity of the event. So the size of the event is going to impact your hourly rate, and we do have a 2-hour minimum. This also includes 1 hour on the front end of your event to set up and 1 hour on the back end of your event to tear down, complimentary. So you're paying for a 2-hour reservation. You're really getting 4 hours with your setup and tear down time. So that's our rate system. You'll see that Floyd Lamb is slightly higher, but that also includes the park entrance fee for all of your cars coming to your special event. In our team, we communicate with our gatehouse team so they know what special events they're looking for that day and what picnic shelters they're looking for that day, and that helps them to discern who's paying for their park entry that day and who's coming in as part of a special event and not paying that $6 fee. Breakdown of the special event revenue for the special event rentals, again broken down by ward, and we had a total of 468 as of the date that this data was produced, and that was 102,000 as far as attendees goes, with a revenue of over $80,000. And again, just as you can see, the team, there's about 4 people in the office, 2 that really focus on park special events that are helping make sure that everybody gets all of the right credentials for these events happening in the parks. I wanted to talk about Floyd Lamb just a little bit too, because I know people are curious with the hay barn actually being a space that people can have events at. We do have a lot of inquiries coming in for the hay barn right now. It's been popular for weddings and company picnics. We've only actually had 4 special events in the space so far since it opened last fall. 2 of those were internal. We had our City of Las Vegas company picnic, which was our most successful company picnic to date, with almost 1,300 attendees at the park. We used the whole area, the gazebo, the grassy area, the hay barn, and even the parking area out behind the structure. And so with that, I just wanted to let you guys know as well, since we were talking about revenue, I know the hay barn actually has a special fund that the revenue for the hay barn goes to go towards historic preservation of the space. So far, we're just under $5,000 for revenue for this space. And hopefully in 2024, we'll be able to grow that number exponentially. We already see reservations accounting to $5,000 in reservations to date for 2024. Also at Floyd Lamb, our team is very concerned about making sure that they're programming passive recreation, and one of our hourly staff just started a walking tour on Wednesdays, and she's actually going to these historic locations in the park and sharing information and just doing a walking Wednesday tour at 9 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. So you're welcome to join her for that tour and just learn a little bit more about the space. It's a great time of year to be out there. And you meet at the foreman's house for that tour at 9 o'clock in the morning. Also part of our team is the pop-up mobile recreation unit. Our pop-up recreation unit is really out there in the community. They take this mobile van around to our different parks, sometimes our underutilized parks, and show the neighborhood that it's a safe place to come out and play. We have our team members out there that are bringing games and crafts and different activities to engage in. They also participate in special events. So here you'll see a listing of some of the special events that they've participated in this year. They've actually, because of their participation in special events and being out at the parks, have had over 5,000 participants in their program this year, which is phenomenal. And they are usually out there about 4 days a week in the parks or at an event. And they're excited to share that next year, or upcoming, they're implementing a morning pop-up session with homeschool groups across all 6 wards. And they're also going to be partnering up with Clark County School District for the Super Saturday Discover the Outdoors events in 2024. And I would be remiss to, act like it's all sunshine and roses. There are always challenges with any line of business. And so for us specifically, we run into the most challenges when there are unpermitted users using the parks, and maybe they've decided to go and settle into a space that somebody else has already claimed and has a permit for. And so that's when we really partner with our counterparts here at DPS and let them, let the park users know we've got that information on their permit. We also educate them when they're getting their permit to go ahead and give DPS a call if they run into any trouble when they're at the park. Sometimes we have some event organizers that are, a little too timid, or they don't want to mess with that, or displacing the other group that's in their space, and so they'll call in for a refund on Monday morning. And we've been very accommodating with those types of situations, but that's one of the areas that we find a struggle with. When we get information or intel on the front end, we are very proactive in either reaching out to the group and letting them know about our permitting process and how to do that, or that their event is going to be conflicting with something already going on in the space. And if we don't, then we also ask DPS for some help to be out there in advance of the event's start time so that they can let them know when they get there to set up that they're not going to be able to do that day. Another would be just clean up with the massive amount of events that we have, especially over April and October. Sometimes we'll find that events are happening one right on top of another, and just being able to get debris out from one before the next one comes in, because there is a short window of time for them to reserve those shelters. And then, of course, just if users aren't following our agreed upon park rules, that could also be a challenge. And I wanted to highlight just a new tool that we have here in the city of Las Vegas. And so it's available to all of our departments, and Parks and Rec specifically has been really excited to dig into some of this data. The tool is called Placer AI, and I was able to pull up a couple of our special events that we've had recently this year with the Placer AI data. So, for example, our Kizuna Japanese Spring Festival, it's a co-sponsored event with the Las Vegas Kizuna Japanese Society at the Sammy Davis Festival Plaza at Lorenzi Park, and the event does spill out into Lorenzi Park. It's had, this year, we were able to find through the Placer AI data that there were over 7,000 attendees, and the average person stayed for the average length of stay was 127 minutes, so just over 2 hours for each attendee coming to that event. And that event happened on April 1st of this year. And in comparison, we also had our Bluegrass Festival hosted by the City of Las Vegas at Centennial Hills Park. We had headliner Molly Tuttle and the Golden Highway Band, and that event reached, I should say, the Grammy Award-winning Molly Tuttle and the Golden Highway Band. Their attendees, or attendance at that park reached 6,100 attendees for the event day on April 15th of this year, and we were able to see, the data that which acts were bringing in the attendees. Obviously, your headliners do bring in more people, and you see your bigger crowds in the later part of the day, but it was great to see the data actually confirming what you think or what you may have predicted. And just this past week, we had the Dia de los Muertos Festival hosted by the City of Las Vegas at the Sammy Davis Festival Plaza. And this event had a Thursday night, 2,100 attendees came out. The guests stayed about 78 minutes on average, and our peak attendance was around the 6 o'clock hour. The event ran from, I believe, 4 to 9 p.m. We were able to compare the data with similar events elsewhere, so this is going to be a really powerful tool for all of us to use. I'll show you a couple of different snapshots of what this tool looks like. These are just screenshots of information I was able to pull from the Placer AI tool. So this is 6 different parks, 6 different wards, and the blue indicates the number of visits, and the orange indicates the number of visitors. The number of visits could be me coming to a park multiple times, and I would indicate a visitor as one, so it wouldn't count me more than one time. It's a location-based service, so it's no personally identifiable information. It's just if your location services are on, it's tracking that data from the cell phone when you're entering that boundary of the event. So we were able to dig in and see, for example, and it was a random poll. I just kind of pulled different parks I could think of in the different wards. We were able to see that the Centennial Hills Park over the last 12 months had close to 600,000 visitors. And KZ's Sports Complex over the last 12 months was close to 1.8 million visitors. And that includes all of the fields and the entire boundaries of the park when we pulled this data. You can drill deeper and you can go into a specific day, or you can look over the course of a year and see this is really drilling into the times of day that the park's busier, so this could be really helpful for not just our special event staff when we're looking at what spaces to use for special events, but also to our Parks and Grounds team and when parks are being heavily used and staffing purposes. So just tons of interesting data there, and I'm sure that you'll learn more about it as we do as well. But that concludes the information that I had to share with you today about the special events in parks. If you want to learn more about any of the city's events coming up in the parks, they are available at lasvegasnevada.gov/discover. We don't post private events on that page, but if you're ever interested in a report, our team is able to share with you what events are coming up in your ward specifically. Thank you.
Excellent. Any questions or comments? No? Yes.
Commissioner
Vice Chair?
Sherman?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Commissioner, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Becker. I wanted to just mention that the press by the Cultural Affairs Acting Director Maggie Plaster on the television for the book festival was wonderful. Wondering if you have any information about how that turned out.
Jasmine Freeman for the record, and yes, we did have the information for the book festival. I'm spacing on the numbers right now, but we were able to pull that data from Placer AI, and the book festival turned out wonderfully. We actually had to cut the line for entries into one of our speakers. Rebecca Yaros was phenomenal. She filled the auditorium, and we couldn't fit any more people in, so we had a standing room only situation and people having to wait outside that weren't able to come in and see her. But at the end of the day, she stayed for hours to make sure that every last book was signed. So the whole festival just turned out really great. We were all pleased with it.
Vice Chair Niger.
Thank you, Stephen Niger, Ward 4. First of all, I commend you guys for Placer AI's pretty crazy stuff, so I commend you guys for using that stuff. It's an amazing tool. Just a question for the larger groups. Do you require additional liability insurance for these larger group events?
Jasmine Freeman for the record, and yes, we do have different insurance requirements. If you are bringing in a special event, then there's a likelihood that you would have to provide a certificate of insurance. And then, of course, if it's higher risk, our risk manager here at the city may ask for increased amounts.
So, Stephen Niger again. So you have someone that looks at every single, I guess you would call it permit request, and then assesses whether or not it would be necessary, a certificate would be necessary?
Jasmine Freeman for the record, and yes, our team, our permit team, looks at everything, and they're pretty well trained to know when something is out of the ordinary or a little more than what we're used to, and so they do run all of the certificates of insurance through our risk manager here at the city, and then they also, when they see something that looks like it might need a special, another eye looking at it, then they bring that to his attention too.
Brilliant, thanks.
Any other commissioners? No? So if you're in charge of the AV, are you responsible for today's clock?
Does the clock need to be changed?
Yeah, it's like 7:20. It's been messing with me all meeting. I'm like, we're really running late. No, I do want to, I was going to say this till later, but since you're here, I'd like to go ahead and commend you and your team for the Las Vegas Book Festival at the historic 5th Street School this year, because I was actually there as a booth vendor. I had a really great position at the entrance, so there were literally thousands of people who came to the event. And I also was directly in front of one of the more popular panelist tents. So there was I had like a front row seat the entire time. So I had a wonderful time. There were definitely thousands, I don't have exact numbers, but definitely thousands of people there. I was very happy as an author to be signing books. Actually, even acting director Maggie Plaster dropped by to say hello to me. I also got a cameo shot with Clifford, but that's for another time. Unfortunately, of course, I have to confess I was a little bit boorish with her, because as soon as I saw her, I started talking about parks business instead of just being an author and having a good time. But the event was just top-notch, and when I left, there was a ginormous line for some of the authors at the very end of the event, and that's kind of when things started to kind of wind down, and we did sort of a soft close, because the line actually went out of the festival and right down the street for quite a while, so I'm sure that was going a very long time. Thank you so much for doing that, and I look forward to participating again next year.
Thank you.
With nothing else on that particular agenda item, we're going to move to agenda item number 7, a report by Steve Glimp, Parks Maintenance Manager, regarding park maintenance updates, all awards.
Good afternoon. Steve Glimp, Manager of Parks and Grounds Maintenance. So I got a project update for you. Some of the projects we've completed recently, Ward 1 at Coleman Park, we just put in a new playground and walking trail. Ward 2 at Kellogg's Air Park, just got the parking lot slurried and restriped. Ward 3, J.C. Levitt, new south parking lot, iron fence. Individuals were cutting the chain link fence and accessing the businesses there, so we put in a wrought iron fence to kind of stop that. Ward 4 in Sky Ridge Park just got a new jogging trail surface. Ward 5, Lorenzi Park, just got new outfield netting. And then Ward 6, Grand Teton Park, got a new surfacing in the playground. So I've got some photos for you. This is the new playground at Coleman Park, and the new walking path. Turned out really nice. This is parking lot striping at KZE. New fence at Levitt. New jogging path at Sky Ridge. New outfield netting at Lorenzi. And then there's a before and after of the playground at Teton Trails. It was pretty tore up. So some of the projects we have in progress in Ward 1 at Mirabella Park were 2 new playgrounds. Ward 2, All-American Park, is getting new artificial turf fields on 1 and 2. Ward 3, Arroyo Vista Park, new parking lot gates. Ward 4, Majestic Park, new 5 to 12 playground. Ward 5, Becker Tech is getting a perimeter fence and a parking gate. And then in Ward 6, Centennial Park will get a new soccer fence all the way around the fields, then some bollards across the front just to limit access. We've had some vandalism with folks driving on the fields, doing donuts, stuff like that. That's my project update.
Great. Do we have questions, commissioners? Yes, go ahead.
This is Commissioner Burgos from Ward 6. I just want to say, actually, thank you, Steve. I attended the October 28th cleanup at Polly Gonzalez Memorial Park, and I think we planted, 14 trees, if I remember correctly, and they had a pretty good turnout. Also, kudos to community member Janet McFarland. I think she's taken special authority over the park, making sure that things are going well and reporting to the city about what needs to be done at the park. Thanks to her also, I think Channel 8 weather meteorologist Sherry Swims was in attendance, as Polly Gonzalez was one of our best friends that we lost several years ago. So we had a great attendance, but I wanted to say special thank you to you and your staff for putting on such a great event.
Well, thank you. That's what we try to do. So.
Other commissioners? Mr. Glimp. Actually, I did have just a little bit of something I noticed along the way. It's not in my ward. It was this is Vice Chair Becker. It was actually in Ward 4 when we were at Majestic. On the lower fields, I noticed I was actually going down to see an upcoming or a sophomore play some ball that's going to be playing with my school. But a lot of the pathway walk lights, which I believe might be solar, don't seem to be coming on. So it's actually pretty dark. It's especially dark on the I think it's the west side that goes up the giant hill. Okay. So just something to take a look at. Maybe those light bulbs need to be changed. And then a couple residents expressed some concerns that at the new Championship Diamond, that the bleachers are, I don't necessarily see it this way, but I just wanted to mention it to you, that they're concerned about like if somebody dropped their phone in it or the debris could possibly pile up because they don't see any access underneath the bleachers because of the stone facade that surrounds them. Just something to think about. It seemed to me like there's enough room to clean up, but I don't know if you can address that.
There actually are access panels that we can get a blower in and kind of clean it out. So. Yeah.
And then that was it. Other than thank you for the playground update. That's actually something my daughter noticed. She said, "Where did the playground go?" And so if it's being updated, that'll be a welcome surprise, because she had seen the new batting cages which replaced one of the playground areas. Yeah. So thanks so much for that update. Cool.
I do have a little bit of an update for you guys regarding a grant we just received, the city received.
Oh, I'm sorry, is this for agenda item 8?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let me tee it up for you.
Okay.
Yeah. For agenda item number 8 is a report by Steve Glimp, Parks Maintenance Manager, regarding emerging issues related to activities of the Parks and Recreation Division All Wards.
Steve Glimp, Manager, Parks and Grounds Maintenance. So the city just received a grant from the USDA Urban and Community Forestry Grant through the Inflation Reduction Act for $5 million. This will allow us to kind of use a nonprofit to actually plant trees on private property in certain zip codes that are might be disadvantaged, where the tree canopy cover is not as dense and the heat island effects are the worst. What that'll get us basically is hopefully about 5,000 to 6,000 trees in the ground. It'll be dependent on the zip code. And it really aligns with our 2050 master plan goal of increasing canopy coverage in the valley from 9% to 25%. So it's a really great thing, and it's really looking forward to getting started with the program.
Commissioner Keller?
Commissioner Keller here. That sounds like a fantastic plan and go-forward strategy. How are those areas being determined, and how are those, I'm assuming, private residents being determined to plant on their property?
So you'll if you live in a certain zip code that's part of this this area that doesn't have great canopy coverage, basically Ward 3 and 5, east side of Las Vegas is where we're really looking at. You'll be able to sign up. The nonprofit will be doing all the marketing for it. You'll be able to sign up. At that point, your address will get vetted if it's in the area that we're going to plant trees. And at that point, tree will get planted. You'll get a water smart irrigation system with it, and 2 years of maintenance from the nonprofit. So.
Commissioner McCurdy, Ward 5. I hope 89106 is included in the criteria, because very poor desert,
yep.
A lot of houses over there need trees. So I'm hoping that you will even use a vendor that knows the area so it can be adequately taken care of. And I know also Ward 3 in 89101, the east end of Ward 3,
yep.
In 89101 is a very desolated area also.
Yeah, for the record, Steve Glimp, yeah, both of those zip codes are basically the hot spots that we're really trying to focus on. So.
Commissioner Keller.
Hello, Commissioner Keller here again. When will the marketing be going out to these residents, and how will it be going out? Do you know any of those specifics?
Some of that is still TBD. We asked for $9 million and we got $5 million, So we're kind of having to rework the scope a little bit and see how that works out. But it should be, I would think by the beginning of the year, January, all that stuff should get started.
Great. Seeing no other questions, I just thank you again, Mr. Glenn.
I do have one thing.
Oh, yes, I'm
I
sorry.
want to introduce our new Deputy Director, Patrick O'Mara.
Oh,
Thank you, guys.
thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Pat O'Mara. I'm the new Deputy Director for Parks and Recreation. Happy to be here. I'm a native of Nevada. I've spent the last 4 years in Tennessee working at different agencies over there, and I'm super glad to be back. We're on week 3, right? Yeah, week 3, and so far so good. I'm excited. We have a lot of opportunities ahead of us, and so we're going to be buckling down and seeing where we can get the department for sure. I'm actually going to cover the recreation side of the emerging issues, where we are. As was mentioned previously, October is a big time for events, and so I'll touch on a few that were recreation-based that came through. Wheelchair football, we actually created a team. Many of you probably have heard about it already. We have a team of about 18 players who are playing on the city team, 6 of whom are veterans, so we're happy to have them involved. They participated in several tournaments across the country this year, and basically left each tournament with a 2-2 record. So it's great that as a brand new team, they were able to get a few wins under their belt. And we look for some good things to come with them. That was, of course, there were partnerships there with Bob Woodruff Foundation, Move United, of course the city was a big part of that, and then the Las Vegas Raiders. So we're happy to have those groups involved in that process. Wonderful program. We look forward to having it build out. We actually hosted the last tournament of the year about 3 weeks ago over at the Llama Lot here in downtown. So it was great. We had about 150 athletes come into town and participate in that. We ran a Heroes to Heroes program at Veterans Memorial Community Center. That program kind of was spurned, it came out of a statistic that said that citizens who have a disability of some sort are more likely to have a negative interaction with first responders because of communication barriers and certainly with developmental disabilities, there are issues with the lights and the sirens and things of that nature. And so we had some staff that partnered with Councilman Siemens' office and with first responders from Las Vegas Metro and our marshals, fire department. I think we even had animal control out there. And so we were really happy to get those. We had kids from Rogich Middle School and Palo Verde High School all participate. We had about 120 kids from the special education programs at those schools come out and meet officers and firefighters in a low pressure environment. Many of them were able to get into the fire trucks that were there, some of the marshals' vehicles that were there, and even flash the lights, flash the siren, where they knew they were kind of in control of that, to allow for some barriers to start falling away in that interaction. So we were happy to have that go on earlier in October and start a good line of communication, hopefully, between those groups. We also did the Fall Festival over at East Las Vegas Community Center. That was well attended. We had games and candy, costume contests. We had Coolsville Tattoo partner with us on that. They provided very generous donation that helped us to provide a pumpkin patch where kids from the neighborhood who were attending were able to take a pumpkin home. We had a photo station, a train in the courtyard. We had a lot of great things going on, and we were really happy. We had 20 different community groups or businesses who were there as vendors, talking about the services that they could provide, or and of course handing out candy. We also hosted the Mayor's Cup. Mayor's Cup is, of course, one of the biggest tournaments in the country. We had just shy of 500 teams, 477 I think is our final number, out of 16 different states and 3 other countries. And so we were really happy to play a big part in that. There were 6 different facilities that were involved across the valley, and so big deal, big program. Happy to be a part of that. This was our 18th year being involved in running that program, and every year we see progress. We see a great event. Of course, we do have challenges in the division. We're always trying to balance the budget versus the goal of expanding the program, so we're trying to do that as smartly as we can. We are working very hard to provide the proper full-time coverage at all of our centers, especially this time of year when you have people starting to get illnesses, and of course the holidays are coming up. So we are working very diligently to make sure that everything is covered, and we are offering all of our services as we're moving forward. Becker Tech, which opened in the spring, we are working diligently to try and build out the programming there. There are certainly some barriers to entry, and so we've been working on overcoming those. One such program that we were able to bring in is actually a grant from the National Recreation and Parks Association. It's a mentoring program. And so we're taking that grant and actually bringing kids in from the neighborhood, mostly teens, interacting with them, and we're able to offer them programs at little to no cost. And we're starting even only 3 weeks out from the national conference where we started this program. We're already seeing connections between staff and the kids from the neighborhood who are coming over being built, and so we're happy to see that. We're excited to see where that goes, and hopefully be able to expand that in the future. I do want to bring up 2 announcements, some notifications for all of you. Firstly, Ward 4 will be replacing the seat held by Audrey Aslin in the upcoming months, so look for that. We certainly want to thank Ms. Aslin for her service over the years. But we will be having a new member coming in February, which is our next meeting. And finally, I want to recognize our own Steve Glimp. At the Desert Green Conference in October, he was honored with the Bill Tomiyasu. Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. The Bill Tomiyasu Lifetime Achievement Award, the impact that he's had on us as a department, as a city, and certainly want to congratulate.
Great. Any questions for the Deputy Director? No? Deputy Director, I just want to welcome you, to your first meeting, and it's a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to seeing you. I would definitely encourage you over the 2 months that were dark, if you have time, and I know you're going to be very busy settling in, but it would be that would maybe be an ideal time to take an opportunity to reach out to the various commissioners so that you can find, what skill sets or experiences they have that might assist you as you become part of the city of Las Vegas. All right?
Certainly.
All right.
Yeah, I did want to reiterate, we are dark until February 6th, I believe is the next meeting. So I wanted to make sure that we were touching on that. And I will definitely be reaching out to all of you to try and, if nothing else, a phone conversation. Certainly would love to meet you in person, and I look forward to doing that after the meeting as well. But look forward to working with all of you. As I said before, I'm very happy to be back in Nevada, really happy to be working with the city of Las Vegas. So.
Great, thank you so much. With that, I'd like to move to agenda item number 9, which is a report by commissioner members regarding parks and issues of events within their respective council wards at large, all wards. Does anybody want to share anything from their ward? I think, yeah, Commissioner, go ahead.
Commissioner Burgos, Ward 6. On Saturday, December 2nd, will be the Cowboy Christmas and Classic Car Show. That will be at Floydland Park at Trulieve Springs from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Also, there was an announcement, beginning January 1st, 2024, cash will no longer be accepted at the Floydland Park at Trulieve Springs to get into the park itself. So I just wanted to bring that across. Also, Veterans Day is Saturday, as everyone knows, and I just wanted to say that with our hearts filled with gratitude and our eyes filled with tears, we thank all of our brave men and women who sacrifice so much so that we can have a better life and country to call home. Thank you so much for your service, and happy Veterans Day.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. That was wonderfully said. Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Keller.
Hello, Commissioner Keller here. Just wanted to invite everybody on Saturday, December 9th. We will be having Santa in the Park at Huntridge Circle Park, which currently that park is closed but is open for special events, and this is one of the special events. Santa in the Park starts at 10 a.m.
Great. And seeing no one else, I do have an update for Ward 2. This is Rich Becker, Chair. Councilwoman Victoria Seaman has been promoted a Veterans Day Self-Defense Clinic from 2 to 4 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Community Center, 101 North Pavilion Center Drive. The clinic will cover basic self-defense and situational awareness training, which is always a good idea. And Councilwoman Victoria Seaman will also be hosting a breakfast buzz at the Veterans Memorial Community Center for Ward 2 residents from 9 to 10 a.m. on Saturday, November 18th. And if you're interested, go ahead and RSVP at Ward 2 and the City of Las Vegas. And then just another note as Chair, just as a friendly reminder to all our commissioners, because we're going to run a little bit over today, but it's really important for us to all try to make our meetings on time. That way we can start early and end on time as well. And that is all the item I have for agenda item 9. Moving to agenda item number 10, citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Commission. No subject may be acted upon by the Commission unless subject is on the agenda or is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record, or the amount of discussion for any single subject as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. Do I have anybody here for public comment? I do have a public comment. As some of you know, Secretary Kim Klein has been promoted to Senior Executive Assistant within the City of Las Vegas. And so we won't have our rock star joining us for many parks meetings going forward. And I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, but in part it was my fault. I wrote her a letter of recommendation so that she could be promoted. So I was part of that. The gist of it is that I had worked with Kim Klein for approximately 2 years in my capacity as a Parks Commissioner for Ward 2 and as Chair of the Las Vegas Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission during this time. I have found that Ms. Klein to be an indispensable asset as a liaison between the City Council-appointed commissioners and the Parks and Recreation Department. She is knowledgeable, proactive, an independent problem solver who has demonstrated exemplary personal initiative to manage many complex issues and coordinate highly detailed tasks and events for the Commission and the Department. And she didn't have to do this. She advocated for it, and she voluntarily did this. Because as commissioners, we cannot direct staff, so she kind of stepped in to fill that kind of void just on our suggestions to say, this is the person we need to talk to, and get them on this because it's really a good idea. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Beyond all this, I have frequently called her our rock star and meant it. And today, Ms. Klein, I'd like to present you with a token of our appreciation for all your hard work. On behalf of this commission, and more importantly, as for me as a citizen, I just would like to commend you with the first ever Service Excellent Award from the Commission in the history of the City of Las Vegas. It has truly been a privilege to serve with you. So I don't know if anybody else would like to thank him at this time, or if you think that it was expressed enough. Yeah, please go ahead, Commissioner McCurdy.
I think you've done a great job, Kim. Every time I asked you for some assistance, you cooperated and you supplied their sister. So congratulations. And I know Steve's going to be happy to have you to rejoin him again.
Yeah.
So God bless.
Commissioner?
I also want to say thank you as a newer member to the commission, to the board. Thank you so much for being so welcoming. I know coming in here it can be very intimidating, and you made it so comfortable and very helpful every step of the way. So I really appreciate that, and congratulations. We'll miss you, but best of luck, and I know you'll do a fantastic job for our city as you've already done. So thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Commissioner Sherman via teleconference, and I also want to thank for all the special accommodations she has made during the COVID pandemic as well as after. She has really gone out of her way to accommodate all of us. Thank you.
Commissioner Gabriel, Ward 5. Kim, you're so wonderful. You always respond emails and telephone calls right away, and you make our meeting much easier. And as you promised, you're going to come and visit, and come and visit.
Commissioner Cornwell, thank you, Kim, for giving me the confidence to be sitting up here today, and for just always being the rock behind everybody, I think. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for your comments and your support and appreciation. Kim, thank you. Again, Ashley, our new secretary, is going to have some big shoes to fill, for sure. All right. Thank you. With that, meeting is adjourned.